You say you're sorry, I'm back.
I am. Oh, whoops. Okay. Oh,
For some reason.
thank you. And I
Either way,
forgot my
I'm-
book. I'm so
back.
sorry. Thank you. I'm so sorry.
I got some nasty.
Last day of school. You been drinking up there at that school all
I
day?
have not, but you know I
Drinking last
should.
day of school.
Yeah, it is. I'm so sorry. This is the first time I've ever done that. You're never going to let me take my book home again.
Okay, we are live.
Okay. How are you guys? Good. All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. If you will please stand and join me with Pastor Rachel Danner, who will give our invocation. Pastor.
Thank you. Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, we give you thanks that you call us to come together to do your work, to serve your people, and to be your people. Help us that as we are leaders in this community, that we can follow where you are calling us, that we can do your work with joy, with imagination, with excitement, and that we can work to care for all of your people, meeting their needs where we can, and being able to give a voice to the voiceless. Lord, we thank you for the responsibilities that we have and for the ways that we can meet these needs. Lord, all these things we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you very much. I will now call our meeting to order. And we would definitely like to welcome back Commissioner Murphy. Commissioner, welcome back. We're happy to see you looking healthy and well, so we appreciate you. Would you like to say a few words?
Thanks, everybody.
All right.
I'm feeling better. Got a ways to go.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Thanks for all the prayers.
Absolutely. Well, you definitely have all of our prayers, so thank you. It's great to see you. All right. With that, Tina, could you please call the roll?
Mayor Young,
Present.
Vice Mayor Wilcox.
Present.
Commissioner Greenlee,
Present.
Commissioner Murphy,
Present?
Commissioner Slattery.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. Now I will open for a public forum. Persons who wish to address the City Commission regarding items that are not on the agenda may do so at this time when called upon by the mayor. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes and should give their name and address when addressing the commission. Any presentation is for information purposes only. Any and all written communication should be deposited with the city clerk. With that, I will open our public forum. And seeing that we do not have anyone for public forum, I will close the public forum. Okay, now we will have our consent agenda by our city manager, Mr. Mark Westhoff.
Okay, thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. 4 items on the consent agenda tonight. First is to approve the minutes from your May 4th, 2026 City Commission meeting. The second is to approve the annual contract for the city attorney, Robert Campbell, for 2026 and 2027. The third is to authorize the mayor to sign the Disclosure Compliance Services Agreement with Gilmore and Bell. This is an agreement with G&B to make sure that we meet our audit deadline requirement. With the final city commission meeting in June at the middle of the month, the filing deadline is at the beginning of July, so we may not meet that, so they can help us be in compliance if the audit happens to be filed after that deadline. And the fourth is to approve a change order for Idecker Inc. in the amount of $75,845.16 for the airport project. Our share of that, just to note, is $7,584. The rest is covered by the FAA. That change order is for drainage changes that needed to happen when they discovered the level of the trash on the edge of that runway.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Westhoff?
And the FCA has agreed to their share of that cost, correct?
Correct. The FAA, yes.
I mean, FAA, get all those mixed up.
Yes.
So they're gonna put a tile under the runway, is that what that, I didn't quite understand.
It's on the edge of the runway. The drainage plan initially had a swale in that area, but as you know, back earlier in the project, they discovered that the trash from the old landfill was higher up than expected, and so that swale would dip down into the level of the trash, which you're not allowed to expose, and so now the drainage has to be slightly different in that area where you have an actual drainage tile at the top and a pipe running out. The expense here is the length of pipe involved. With runways, everything is bigger than you would think, and it's over 1,000 feet of 12-inch storm pipe that they have to install.
Okay, and this was something that obviously was unexpected.
Correct,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, all right. Any other questions or concern? Okay, if not, I would move that we accept the consent agenda as read. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we accept the consent agenda as read. All those in favor, please state by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. And Mr. Westhoff, our board openings, this is wonderful that we have so many interests in the library board.
Yes. Since we have some competition there, I think we'll come to that one last, so I'll do the others
Okay.
first. We did not receive any applicants for our design review committee. Again, part of the reason that's been difficult is that the requirement is for a representative from a local industrial business in our downtown area. So we still welcome an applicant that meets those parameters. Our Parks and Forestry Board, we had 2 openings and received 1 application from Mr. David Link of the Branchton area for a 2-year term, or excuse me, a term expiring in July 31st, 2027.
Okay. All right. Does anyone have any questions about Mr. Link?
I don't have a question about that, but I have a question. What does the design review committee do?
So this is part of our, Justin, do you want to take it since you're?
I mean,
That would be
we
great.
haven't appointed anybody in,
Yes, so there's
Yeah,
more members of that
time.
board. It has never met, as far as we understand, but
Okay.
go ahead, Justin.
That is true. The creation of the Design Review Committee was a necessary requirement of applying and being accepted into the Kansas Main Street program. There has not ever to date been a reason for that group to meet. A reason for that group to meet would be somebody wants to build a building downtown that is outside of the downtown design guidelines, and they want to appeal
Have a variance.
and have a variance to some extent. Say they wanted to build a metal shed for some reason that's within, and you know, the downtown design guidelines don't really allow for that, and so they might appeal to, so they have never had a instance where they were needed to meet, but the creation of it was a requirement to become a Main Street community. I can list for you a number of things that have been financially advantageous for the city, having had a Main Street community. A couple of what are called residential opportunity on Main Street rooms grants through the Kansas Department of Commerce. There are other things through Kansas Department of Commerce that kick you up a notch, like historic economic asset lifeline grants. Anyway, there's a list of things. So financially, it has been worth it. That group exists. It has never had to meet. This question comes up commonly. It's a strange deal, but if they had to meet, they could.
Yep.
But they have not.
Would a
We do have-
developer qualify for that? He would, wouldn't he?
Not for that seat. So
He wouldn't?
we have, the board has, under statute, certain requirements that you have certain industries represented on that board. We've filled all of those except for this industrial business.
So when we say industrial business, can you give us an example of one of the companies that would,
They don't have to be in the district, do they?
I don't know the
I'd
answer
have
to
to
that.
check the statute.
okay, all
Um,
right.
I was gonna see if we couldn't put Justin on since he's.
I'll check the statute on that.
I'll make you a deal. If you don't appoint me, I will promise to be there when that group meets.
Okay.
I'll check the statute on that and have it for you next month.
It's the same thing, really.
Okay, all right. Any other questions regarding the Design Review Committee? Okay, if not, I think we are on the Park and Forestry Board. We have one applicant, as Mr. Westhoff said, David Link, and I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly.
Do we need a motion on that?
We do.
I move we appoint Mr. Link. I'm familiar with him. He'd be a good candidate.
I second that.
Okay, wonderful. So Commissioner Slattery moved and Commissioner Murphy seconded the appointment of David Link to the two terms,
Single term.
single term, expiring in July 31st of 2027. Any questions?
Give me an example of what a controversial question and within that committee might be.
For the design committee or for the Parks
For
Board?
the parks.
The Parks Board is very active. They help us they help triage projects. So, you know, they kind of brainstorm projects for the parks. Right now, they're taking a look at the pool. They help us with siting and choosing trees to plant in the parks as well as around the city. They're actually fairly active. They were instrumental in recommending taking a look at a downtown ice rink, which we've been working on with the chamber. So they make recommendations to city staff. They work with city staff on issues in the parks, and ultimately some of those recommendations come before the city commission.
One other thing I'll mention about parks specifically, I could think of 3 instances, and not even just city elected officials, but county elected officials who kind of got their start
Yes.
in local government, serving specifically on parks and forestry. Abby Bartlett started there, Sean Rizza started there, Casey Quinn, she was involved in other stuff too, but that's just a handful in very recent years that it can be kind of a breeding ground of like the people who wind up sitting in your chairs in the future.
You're familiar with how government works.
All right, that's good. All right.
Mr. Link's always question things and stuff like that, and I said, why don't you just sign up for it? I guess Bill had the same thing, so
Okay.
I guess he's our recruit.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right. With that being said, if there are no other questions, concerns, comments, all those in favor, please state by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Congratulations to Mr. David Link for the Park and Forestry Board.
Okay, and then we also have one applicant for the Juvenile Correction Advisory Board for the single opening there, and that was Miss Janet Smith.
And
It's a
Ms.
2-year term.
Okay, 2-year term, and Mrs. Smith is also a school board member.
Correct.
Yes, okay. Yeah, I'm familiar with Mrs. Smith. I think she would be a fabulous addition. So I have no problem with moving that we appoint Janet Smith to the Juvenile Correctional Advisory Board for a 2-year term. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we appoint Janet Smith to the Juvenile Correction Advisory Board. All those in favor, please state by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Congratulations to Mrs. Smith.
Okay. Then we have, for the single seat that is open on the library board, we received 4 applications. I'll mention the seat that is open now was held by Laura Mortensen, who did apply for reappointment to that board. And then we also received letters of interest and application from Mr. Christopher Lurquin. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Dina Eaton and Lori Kelly. They're all in your book. They each wrote a letter, included some of their qualifications for you to consider.
Okay, and I understand that Lara Mortensen is currently serving on the library board. She's also the current vice president.
Yes, she was the vice president of the library board during her most recent term, which
Okay.
is this seat.
Okay, all right. I am also familiar with Dina Eaton, who is the Atchison High School librarian. And then I am also familiar with Ms. Lori Kelly as well, who also is at the Atchison High School as well. How would we like to proceed, gentlemen, do we have questions? We do have someone that is currently serving on the library board that would like to be reappointed, but
I'll move that we appoint her again if she's serving now, and she's the president of the board now?
Vice
Vice
President.
president?
Is there a second?
I don't have any big,
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded that we reappoint Ms. Lara Mortensen for the unexpired term ending in April 30th, 2023 for the Atchison Library Board. Are there any other questions or concerns? Okay.
Well, just that there are other candidates, and if we vote yes, then that's done.
yeah, that's not quite right, is it?
There's only one term, there's only one seat open,
Yeah,
so, yes, correct.
Well, I mean, I'm just gonna throw, there's several other good candidates, obviously, and I'm glad that they have applied. So I don't wanna just pass them over. I mean, Dina Eaton, if I've said that correctly, is a experienced school librarian.
Correct.
So, she's got that in her back pocket and a lot of experience to go along with it. Laura Kelly has given us a very extensive bio and put quite a bit of time into preparing an application for this position, so I wish they were interested in some of the other committees.
Well, and I would, whoever isn't appointed, I would encourage them to continue looking. Again, we have seats on the library board and other boards open up
I could
all the time.
withdraw that motion if you
No,
do it differently.
I'm not saying I'm not in favor of Mortensen. I just want to acknowledge that there are other candidates that are viable candidates. Sure.
We had the same thing when we appointed you, and we had 4 or 5 candidates.
No, that was your mistake, not mine.
Same thing.
I don't know that it was a mistake, but yeah.
I'd say there's a lot of similarity.
Yeah. But as I've stated, I am familiar with Ms. Eaton. She's a fabulous librarian, has been a wonderful addition to USD 409, as is Ms. Lori Kelly, who I believe, if I am correct, Ms. Kelly has also served in leadership capacity in a city where she formerly lived. And so I would just, as Vice Mayor has said, just encourage individuals, and especially these individuals who have quite extensive experience, to please look for other areas where they can absolutely serve.
Should we look at this in some way where we could somehow or another vote for, each person vote for one person or something like that? Would it be better that way than what I just?
No, so right now there's a motion and a second on the table.
Right,
So
so
we
withdraw
will need to
it.
vote on that motion. And then ultimately, if that passes, then that person is appointed. If it doesn't pass, then the table would be open to another motion.
I'm just curious, on the library board, how many positions are on that board?
Tina, do you know off the top
I
of your
don't
head?
know. That's a good question. Tina, do you know?
No, I believe it's 7 on that board, but I'm,
Probably
I'll
7.
look really quickly.
Well, we're really lucky to have these many people applying for it.
Could we, and that's a good question, Commissioner Greenlee, is it possible that we could expand the number of
Have an
people?
alternate, or,
Yeah.
I don't know.
that would require a different resolution than what's on the table today.
Okay.
I would just,
It's ultimately the size and makeup of these boards is the city commission's discretion. I would caution, one problem we've encountered, for example, with the Parks Board is it has 9 seats.
7.
7, okay.
7
Thank
on
you,
the
Tina.
library board. The Parks Board has 9 seats, which is great because there's lots of opportunity for representation there. That also makes it really difficult to get a quorum. You need 5 people, there for any meeting. So while the Parks Board has met several times in the recent past, they haven't had a quorum. So they've had really great discussions, but not anything, official has taken place in those meetings. So, it's something to consider if you're considering expanding the boards. It's ultimately up to your discretion if you want to do that in the future, though.
Okay, so it would have to be something that we would need to do in the future. We would need
Correct.
to have a resolution prepared.
I believe that would be a resolution, yes, but I can work with Bob. The ordinance created the board. I don't think it defined how many seats, so I believe it'd just be a resolution. But we can look into that for you. And obviously, the library board is somewhat autonomous too. They prepare their own budget and things, so I would want a chance to meet with them and see if they have some feedback for you on that as well.
Okay, all right. I think, Commissioner Greenlee, would you like for
Sure.
them to look into that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that
Okay.
would be great if you could look into that. That
You
would be
want to
wonderful.
postpone this vote then, or not?
But we need the seat filled, and we have the applicants.
Okay,
So
all right. And
I
we-
would recommend voting.
Okay, all right, so we still have the motion on the table. It's been
Correct.
moved and seconded that we reappoint Lara Mortensen to the library board for a term expiring April 30th, 2030. If there are no further comments or questions, we will move to vote. All those in favor, please state by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And then, Mr. Westhoff, you will look into the possibility of expanding the library board?
Yes, I will
Okay.
meet with them to discuss and see if they have any feedback for you on that as well.
Okay.
I mean,
So-
that's a down the road question, but as you said, reaching a quorum and the fact that they develop their own budget,
Correct. It's
some
that's a,
continuity,
Mhm.
I think, is important in that regard.
yes.
And it's nice to have this interest, but everybody doesn't get a play.
And I would say, you know, these seats come open regularly. Folks move or need to step off these boards for one reason or another. So I would encourage these individuals as well as anyone else who's interested to keep track of that. Our city clerk makes those posts regularly that there are board openings available, not on just these boards, but on others as well.
And you have the other scenario where you, let's say you increase it to 9, and then you
Yeah.
have 2 or 3 openings that you can't fill.
Correct. Yeah,
Like
that's
the
what
design
has
review
happened with
board.
the,
For
yes.
Seems like
example, yeah.
sometimes a committee of 20 just doesn't get anything done.
It doesn't. It really doesn't.
I would ask maybe if we might somewhere down the road, the commissioners get a list of who is on each.
We have that ready
Committed.
for you as soon as
Yeah,
you'd
right.
like.
So if I bump
Yep.
into somebody on the street and they have a question about parks,
Sure.
for example, if I know they're a committee member as opposed to just someone with a question, I'm
Absolutely.
a little bit better prepared.
We can get that to you tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions on that?
I don't have any,
Okay.
gentlemen. Any further? Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Mr. Westhoff. I think the conversation is a good one, because we definitely need more people to be involved. And as Vice Mayor said, we want to make sure that, for those who, unfortunately were not able to be appointed today, that doesn't discourage them, that they look for other avenues and areas in which to serve, because we really appreciate each and every one of them and the time that it took for them to prepare. All right, at this time, we will have Mr. Clinton McNamee, the 2026 asphalt mill and overlay contract. Mr. McNamee?
All right, so as we've all become accustomed to, about every 3 years, we do a bond project where we use those proceeds to fund a larger scale, for us anyway, mill and overlay package. 2026 is the year for the current one or the next iteration of that to take place. This one's a little bit more complex, such that we have a couple of sidewalk grant projects that are going to delay 2 of the streets that we would like to see done. That being Unity Street from 2nd to 12th and North 5th Street from Santa Fe to Unity. Those will probably take place next year. And we'll focus on the bulk of the proposed scope this year, this summer. Actually, it's early fall is when the contractor's looking to mobilize on that. But the bond was about 1.8 million. The scope that we're looking to do this year is closer to, well, the bid was from Herzog, the winning bid was from Herzog Contracting at $1,054,382.55. And then we've added roughly 112,000 to that to do L Street from Second to 10th, which was not included in the bid package, but it was included in the bond documents. And so it was in, then it was out, and then bid prices came back such that it can go back in. Unless something drastic happens between now and next year, it looks like that we will have plenty of funds from the bond to do Unity and North Fifth, and then some additional funding to do some other things such as stormwater improvements or curb and gutter on the streets listed within the bond resolution. And I'll just quickly run through the streets list. I know it's been on social media, but I'll just, for the purpose of doing this, I'll just run through it real quick. L Street from 2nd to 10th, North 8th from M to Harper, North 3rd from Laramie to Unity, North 4th from Maine to Kansas, North 9th from Community to Unity. Community? I just made up a new street, guys. Commercial to Unity, Santa Fe Terrace from 17th to Parallel, South 5th from 59 Highway to Spring, Green Street from 73 Highway to South 6, Crowell from Spring Garden to College, South 6 from Fletcher to Ravenhill, Sioux Terra and Woodlawn from Main Street to Service Road, which some people would call Omaha Junction. So ultimately, I'm looking for a authorization contract with Herzog for the bid amount of $1,054,382.55 with an additional budget authority of $150,000 to cover the addition of L Street, plus to cover the adjustments that projects like these will have at the end. This is kind of a quantities-based contract, so ultimately it comes down to, we estimate the tonnage, and then, or we estimate the striping, and it all comes down to quantities at the end of the project on how close we are to that. So that's pretty common with these types of projects.
All right. Any questions? I understand that we work with this company, is that correct?
Herzog's done a number of overlays over the years.
Okay.
Been a while since they did
No, I would say they've done more C-clip highway projects for us in recent years than the city streets.
What's the deal? I see you got the millings will be disposed of at a city site. I forget where it was at. What did you have in mind there?
We typically store them out at, we call it the rifle range. So the PD has a shooting range. I'm not sure how I got the name rifle range in the past, but it's also where we store our surplus materials like bricks and millings. And
Where's this at?
Near the sewer treatment plant.
Oh, there's a rifle range out the land.
yeah, it's kind of tucked away up in the woods
Why
on the
don't
hill.
I was wondering, why didn't we haul that back to the asphalt plant and then they can recycle it? Why they didn't, nobody.
We use it for our
Oh, you use
purposes.
it for here.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, just for informational purposes, if you look at the base bid and you go to number 2, which is a milling,
Yeah.
okay, there's a pretty dramatic difference in that pricing from 475 down to 275,
214 even,
2.25 even.
214.
Are you looking at the bid tabulation page?
Well, I'm looking at
One
each of
different bids.
the bids.
And traffic control,
you-
one company wanted 50,000,
Yeah.
and the others were all around 5 to 7,000.
Let's go back to my question, okay? The 2 inches of milling.
Okay.
Why would there be such a drastic?
Which two numbers are you looking at?
Okay, I'm looking at any of the bids you want.
Number 2?
It's under number 4, base bid. Under items, number 2, milling, 2 inches.
Yeah, they have a
Are you
unit price.
when you say base bid, are you talking about the
Our
engineer?
our form that they filled out, number 4 is called base bid.
Okay.
But I don't see the numbers you're saying. You're saying 400,000 on some of them?
From $4,
Oh, for $4 for the unit price?
$4
Yes.
down to 225
Yes.
is a pretty, down to 2.25
Sure.
is a pretty dramatic different. I would assume that's the primary product.
That's the,
No.
no, that's the labor to mill out
Mill out.
the current asphalt.
Okay, all right,
Grind it off and.
If you notice, most of them are closer to the $4 range.
yeah.
Well, my question was, would we be ahead to split that out? I know it's a little more trouble possibly, but we could have some company do the milling at their cheaper rate, and
I-
then some other
can-
company do the.
But here, can we talk about something really, that a lot of times these companies will,
Lump it together.
well, they're adjusting their price. If you come to them and say, I'm just gonna contract you for the milling and I'm just gonna contract you for the paving, the price changes.
Okay.
Their pricing, they could be adjusting their milling price because they happen to have some advantage over another company in milling, but then they make up for it in other areas.
One of them might be,
I would-
one of them might be amortizing a new milling machine.
Yeah,
And putting it in there. And
that's why you gotta look at the total with these projects.
I would also add to that sometimes we're not as pleased with the amount of time it takes from
Yeah.
one contractor to mill and then overlay. If you get one contractor milling and one contractor overlaying, you know, the odds of those two being
The other
in sync with each other.
The other side here is
probably
that
pretty
the
small.
milling unit here is per square yard. Some companies can do a square yard faster than another company can do a square yard. And that could mean it's cheaper or more expensive if they have a different machine or more employees. So in micromanaging kind of like where their bids come from is going to require getting into the weeds with each of these companies on their business operations and how one company might do it with more manpower and another company might do it with more machinery. I think that we really need to focus on the
Total
bid
bid.
total and the fact that Herzog, which is a well-known and respected company, came in as the low bid, below our engineering estimate, so below what we had budgeted for. But we're getting to the point now, because of the delay with the bond sale, where if we don't get on their calendar, then we're not gonna get it done this year. That's kind of where the bottom line for this contract comes out.
Well, I understand the total bid is the bottom line, but it's just sort of, it's almost frustrating what a difference there is. For example, mobilization.
Yeah.
One company's $89,000, one's $1,500. Like Mike said, one is traffic control, 50 grand, the other one's
And all of
traffic
these
control,
companies,
5 grand.
and all of these companies do business differently.
Some of
And
the,
some might take a loss on an item because it makes sense for their books and increase others. So, mobilization, again, could be, do you need to ship in a bunch of trucks and machinery to do it faster? Well, it's gonna cost more on mobilization, but less on the labor time to do the work. So, this stuff can shift around depending on how they do business.
some of these will sub out traffic control, some of them handle it internally. That swings that number quite a bit. And the same could be true of milling. Some of those companies do it internally, some of them sub that
You
out.
got a very good price, I'm not,
Yeah, we got a good deal on this, but that doesn't mean we can't get a better deal in the future. If we look at a project like this where we can look at the individual bid it out, that this was bid that way, I think we're with this deal. And it might not make a lot of difference in the overall. But as a matter of fact, somebody might have a milling machine, and whether their cost of it is, that's not our concern.
And are they
Whoever can
willing?
do it the cheapest is what we're looking at.
But are they
Or
willing to
best.
coordinate with a different paving company?
Yeah.
So that the 2-inch mill gets done and the paver follows right behind it, and we don't have a street for 3 weeks with a 2-inch mill and a bump on either side. Like, this is one seamless operation for these companies where the miller comes through and the paver follows right behind it. I don't think you could convince any of these companies to bid on the project that way. Not on this kind. It's called mill and overlay. They
We
do
did
it in
that
one.
way. I think we gotta do it this way this time, but if there's that much difference in it, I don't see where it's a problem. We can save $75,000 on $1 million project by waiting 2 weeks, I'm all for it. Might be wrong, but that's the way I look at it.
I don't think we'd actually see those savings.
We might not.
Whenever you actually bid them out that way,
they'll raise their,
they'll raise their prices to meet.
I see. And then my understanding is also that staff preferred Herzog also.
Well, we're happy with all of
They're
these
the
companies,
lowest-
but they're the
lowest
lowest
qualified
bid.
bidder.
And we are happy with the work they do. So
Okay.
if we're happy with the company and they're the low bid, then they're always going to be the recommendation. I think that's kind
For
of.
my own knowledge, what is the actual cost of the asphalt? Is that the asphaltic bituminous surface? Is that what that
About
is?
$100 a ton.
I think they bid $110 per
Yeah.
ton, and so that's not literally just the
And that's
material.
a square yard?
That's placed, that's per ton placed, $110 per yard, or saying yard, per ton. If we were to go buy asphalt, we were spending $70 a ton.
Yeah, I'm just curious what it costs to put down asphalt per square yard.
Their bid
From my
is,
own
their
knowledge.
bid is about $110 per ton, the winning bid there.
How much?
I'd have
is
to
a
get my
ton?
calculator out to
Okay.
tell you how many
2,000
square,
pounds?
how many square yards.
Well, I know how much
Oh,
a ton
square
is.
yards.
Can you picture a dump truck that hold
Yeah.
about 15?
I want to know how much surface does it cover?
Yeah,
Okay, you take a dump truck full, a normal big dump truck full, hold about 15 tons. You take 15 tons and then divide out the 2 inches you get out of that 8-foot or 6-foot hole. You calculate it.
I
out that
withdraw
way.
the question.
They probably got a calculator.
I mean, yeah, I
Okay.
mean, the
Okay.
it's 2 inches thick, so it's 2 divided by 12 to get 0.17 feet.
Yeah.
And then take that times,
Yeah.
whatever,
The width.
take the width and the length to get the cubic feet, convert that to
Depends
cubic
on the width of
yards.
the street.
Okay.
or-
L Street's narrow, Woodlawn's really wide. So
All right. Okay, I think we have exhausted this conversation. So at this time, do I have a motion?
moved.
All right, wonderful,
second it.
wonderful. It has been moved and seconded that we will authorize the 2026 asphalt mill and overlay contract with Herzog Contracting Corporation in the amount of $1,054,385 and,
82.
I'm sorry, you were telling me that and I didn't write it down. So let me repeat that. $1,054,382.55 with an additional change order authority of $150,000 to cover the addition of L Street resurfacing from 2nd to 10th Street and cover minor adjustments which are common with this type of project. Do we have any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say, oh,
On
go
that
ahead.
addition of street, did we calculate that out where it was about the same amount per square foot or anything like that, or is it just closer?
I'm not,
When we had
all the
added
per
street-
foot, all the unit prices are the same for the additional street that wasn't in the bid.
talking about L Street?
Yeah.
Yeah, we basically used the milling and
Same,
we
yeah,
didn't,
Okay.
I
Yes.
don't believe if there's any pavement striping, it would be a very minimal amount, so we basically based that off of mill and overlay, and not trying to figure out mobilization and all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay, any further questions? Okay, if not, all those in favor, please state by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And Mr. McNamee, we're not letting you go just yet. Wastewater treatment plant, biotower rehabilitation.
All right. Biotower or biofiltration tower is kind of the longer way to say that. There are 2 of those down at the wastewater treatment plant. Both are functioning. One of them is in a state of collapsing. So the internal structure, think of call it layers or a network of small filter media that the wastewater is pumped to the top of the tower and it trickles down through all of this, creates a biofilm on all that surface area of those little particles. And that has beneficial microorganisms in there that eat the organic matter that's in the waste. And once that organic matter is taken out, that lowers the oxygen demand out of the water. So like if you didn't do that, for example, and you pump you discharge your wastewater back into nature, you end up with dead zones and creeks and rivers and lakes because all the oxygen's being taken up by whatever's coming into that body of water instead of being available for the fish and wildlife there. So, I mean, that's basically what that does. The one that we are proposing to get the filter media replaced. It's been running since 1978, and it uses a redwood media. The other tower got redone in 2017-ish. It was also 1978 vintage. It didn't, for whatever reason, it didn't last as long. I think it had been out of use for like 9 years before they replaced it. They had a company come in, engineering company come in. Do we need one? Do we need two? Do we need one? After all that was said and done, it was the redundancy and the benefit of having both, especially with the ability of the biotowers to help with nutrient control, which is something that we're a little behind on, and KDHE is wanting to see some steps taken towards that. It was ultimately decided to go ahead and get that other one back in commission. The city then put out an RFQ for a design build concept, so where it's not, you don't put it out for engineering, then take that plan and then go put it out for construction. This is more of an altogether package, and 2 companies bid or submitted interest in that. The city interviewed both, ultimately found that CAS, which is the one tonight that we're proposing, was the more qualified or experienced with that sort of work candidate, mostly because they already had the solution designed. We reached out to them directly and to ask for an updated today's price proposal. Back in 9 years ago, I think it was 500. I got the number in here somewhere.
583,000.
583,000, and we're looking at 747,000 and some change, plus to replace a large pipe that's in between the 2 towers. This is in the CIP for 830,000. There was one proposal. If you looked at the CAS proposal, it was kind of categorized A, B, C. This is A and C. So it's the filter media and it's the large pipe replacement in between the towers. And then B is a series of fittings and valves that are inside of a building associated with the biotowers and aeration that need to be replaced. We'll probably talk to you about it during this year's budget workshop for 2027.
Okay. Okay, all right.
But beyond all that, the actual request is to authorize staff to hire CAS to rehabilitate one of the 2 biotowers at the wastewater treatment plant in the amount of $784,465 with a change order authority of $25,000.
Okay, and you said that in the CIP, we have, how much did we budget? for?
830.
Okay, all right, so we're right about,
We're under budget by about
under.
$50,000.
which is good, which is very good.
That helps us on some other items that we've brought
Okay.
this year that were like the UV bulbs and
Yeah,
I can't remember what the other one was, but we were over on a couple things, and this will help us
okay.
cushion that.
I have
Okay.
one
All
useful
right,
piece of
that's good.
context, I think, that might be helpful. The inflation calculation since 2017, the total is just under 36%, so 583,000 in 2017 equates to 792,000 today,
Okay,
just providing that context.
yeah, no, appreciate that, yes. Okay, wonderful, and it's always good to be under budget as much as we can, so thank you for ensuring that, and thank you for the data. Do we have any other questions or concerns about this?
I'll just make a statement. I mean, even though this is a lot of money, we did anticipate it during the budgeting. But I'd like to note that several of the commissioners did a tour of the other part of the facility, the water plant. And I think we were all a little bit surprised at the sophistication required there. And the process that us having high-quality water takes to keep our citizens safe and happy, but it's a lot more than what I think an average person would estimate is needed to process water, and the same with wastewater, I'd assume. So even though it's a lot of money, I think it's money well spent, and it's needed to be done, and it's been a long time since the initial infrastructure was put in place, so.
And I forgot to say it earlier.
Yes.
So the original was redwood media. This will be like a plastic. So
And that's what was put in place in 2017,
Yes.
correct?
Correct. Yep.
And how is that holding up?
as far as I know, that it's working as it should, and we're sticking with the recommendation to stay with the plastic.
Okay.
Do you anticipate any electrical work, because the contract says no electric work, no electric involved in
No.
that, is there?
The only thing that the proposal doesn't-
Gravity.
The only thing the proposal doesn't include that, it's probably gonna be a conversation with Mark and I afterward is, to include within that change order authority, we might ask them to do a bond surety,
Do a what?
Okay.
like a bond to make sure that, technically anything over $100,000 we're supposed to have bonded, so. And they will ask for money to do that, so I think we can cover that within the change order.
Okay,
authority.
okay, so you will have enough with the change order to do that. I think if you think that's necessary, we should. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right, and I agree with Vice Mayor Wilcox. That was, I think it was Commissioner Greenlee, Vice Mayor, and myself were able to tour the water treatment facility. It was really very impressive. As the Vice Mayor noted, it's really technical, and we appreciate all of the hard work that our folks there do. I would also like to tour this wastewater treatment plant also south of town. I think if we can do that, that would be
Of course,
very, very helpful.
bring your boots.
Yeah, my cousin, I had a cousin who worked there over the summer when we were in high school, so I am very well aware, very well aware. But I do think it's important for us
course.
to visit it as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, with that, do we have a motion? I may be the only one there, but I'll be there. Do we have a motion to authorize staff to hire CAS to rehabilitate one of the two biotowers at the wastewater treatment plant in the amount of $784,465 with a change order authority of $25,000?
So moved.
All right, I hear that it has been moved by Vice Mayor, seconded by Commissioner Greenlee. Do we have any questions? If not, all those in favor, please state by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We do not have communications, but we do have informational items. Mr. Westhoff?
Hey. So the main thing tonight, other than my update, is the April 2026 financial report. I'd call your attention again to, we've been kind of tracking the sales tax numbers for the year. They're closer this month to the last 2 years, but it is still above and still up overall for the whole year. So approximately, it's 30% above the projection that we had at the beginning of the year. So something that we're keeping an eye on the collection side, on the revenue side.
Okay.
Any questions on that, or?
We're about 77,000 above where we were this
Correct.
time last year.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
You got any idea what's causing that?
I mean, sales tax is complicated. It could be,
Increase in, certainly in goods and services, probably.
it could be increased costs in goods and services. Sales tax moves with inflation. Obviously, inflation's not, I don't believe, by any metric, 30%. So there's also, more spending, could be more tourist activity. Jill gave you her report at the last meeting, and they are doing more to bring in people to the city. So
Oh, for example, in Bill's business, if the gas went from $3 a gallon to $4 a gallon,
yeah,
that's another 8 cents every gallon of gas that somebody buys. That's a lot of gallons of gas every week.
Yeah,
A lot of dollars.
it is.
okay.
Not, that's not Bill's fault. I'm just-
Yeah, that-
He wasn't even there for a while.
Okay, ready for my update?
Yes.
Just a handful of things, but a little more details on each one. The first is just an update. Again, we did go ahead and submit our application for the next round of the Safe Streets sidewalk projects. If you recall, these are all connecting to Atchison Middle School in some way. This coming fall, we'll be looking at 5th Street North, and then we submitted an application to do some connections onto that project up and down Fifth Street. So that's kind of the next round. We'll continue to update you on those as we apply for them in other parts of the city. Lions Pool update. We know some folks have noticed that the pool was kind of full and then it was drained and then now it's filling back up. And we, as we started to fill it this year, an issue presented itself that needed a repair. So we drained it back down, made the repair, and then are filling it back up. So our intention is still to open the pool on Saturday, May 23rd. However, there are a lot of factors that determine whether or not the pool is safe to open, and the most important one most years is water temperature. Generally speaking, high 70s, mid 70s, kind of at the low end, is the guideline for recreational swimming. You get below that, you have to start being careful about how long you're in the water, and we don't really want to do that at the pool. And maybe like clockwork, last few years, the week before we project to open, the temperatures go down, and that's the same this year. This week is supposed to be in the 70s, so it's seeming a little unlikely that the pool temp will get up to where it needs to before May 23rd. However, that's still the goal, and we'll keep monitoring it this week. So please be sure to follow the Atchison Lions Pool on social media. We'll put an update on the city webpage if it's not going to open on the 23rd. Opening day, whenever it occurs, will be free admission this year. And generally, again, hours for the pool, 1 p.m. every day to 6:30, except Tuesdays and Thursdays where it stays open late till 9. Admission is still going to be $1, and we have 10 punch passes available for $9. 2 and under is free. We'll keep posting updates. Did you want to, we got the slide repaired in the off season. Have you guys been able to test that yet? Just out of curiosity?
not.
No testing on it yet. Okay.
Needs to be full to be able to.
Okay. Need the pool full before you can test the slide. We made the repairs on the slide, so we'll have to test it once the pool is full. The intention is to have that
Okay.
running again this year. So.
Okay, that would be.
And we also did purchase new cleaning equipment for the pool this year, so hopefully any concerns that there were last year, we'll be able to keep it cleaner this year.
Okay, I hope so, because I did hear about the cleaning.
Yep, last year was tough on that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, and then are we full with lifeguards? We've hired lifeguards. Do we have an update?
Last I
on
checked, they
that?
could still use some more, but maybe they've gotten them since then.
I think we are okay in terms of numbers of
Okay.
employees. I think the more pressing item is making sure they all have their certifications in time.
Okay,
So it might be a little tight at first, utilizing the ones that get their certifications,
okay,
or maybe already have them.
okay.
I have not heard anybody panicking yet, so I think it'll
Okay.
be manageable. But
Okay.
that's more of the concern now, is to make sure we can get them certified and up to date versus how many of them that we actually have.
And
How
we
many
do-
lifeguards do you need?
It varies. Sometimes it depends on the pool manager, on how they like to run the pool. On a shift, 6 or 7. And that depends on, if you're having the slide running or not, or we're utilizing the baby, which most of the time you would, so that's where that comes from. Twice that is nice, because there's, it's young people, they go on family vacations and things of that nature, and so it's nice to have twice the amount you need at least. And typically we hire more than that, just to make sure everybody's covered. Sometimes they platoon, so the same group doesn't really overlap very much. It's 2 or 3 days with one group, 2 or 3 days with the next. And that's, like I said, up to the managers. We don't really dictate that too much at our staff level. But,
And I would just say that if anyone is interested in being a lifeguard and they can't find the link or something, to email HR and they'll keep your information on record, because sometimes halfway through the year, folks go on vacation, they go off to college sooner than they expected. Things change, especially with younger folks who are usually our lifeguards, and so we always like to have things on record to be able to fill those positions quickly. So, yeah, just reach out to HR if they're interested in.
Are you
Okay,
comfortable in saying who your manager or managers are?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Sherry Cody will be the manager this year. This will be her first time managing the swimming pool, so
Okay.
but we're excited.
Okay.
He's
Wonderful.
been working with our park superintendent and our finance folks, I think, to get all the aspects of the running the pool, under comprehension, because there's quite a bit coming at her at once in terms of some new information on how we do stuff. So, but we're excited that this year will be a nice, solid, consistent year. I just wanted to add on the cleaning thing from last year.
Yes.
The item that Mark had mentioned, the reason why the pool went down and came back up, the pool level this spring. One of the challenges that we faced last year with the pool cleanliness was that a valve that needs to shut 100% for us to do a proper backwash on the filters was not shutting 100%. So we weren't getting a full power backwash.
Yeah.
And the repair we made was to replace that valve in the off season. Of course, with no water in the pool, we
Yeah.
couldn't know that it was 100% effective. And then when the pool filled up, that valve was leaking. And so we had to drain it back down so that we could replace the valve again. Well, not replace it, but fix it. So as far as I know, I haven't gotten any updates today. That is working now.
Okay. Excellent. And then do you know, is it Red Cross certification is what you will use for the lifeguarding?
In an ideal situation,
Okay.
that seems to be the standard. However, we also are happy to take YMCA certified lifeguards as well. So that's pretty much those two.
Okay.
It's a little more challenging with the YMCA certified because those instructors are kind of required to do it at a YMCA as far as I understand. So it's somewhat limiting, but finding Red Cross instructors is not always easy either. So, anybody out there is watching that has those certifications, feel free to reach out to us
Okay.
because we're always looking for new contacts on that.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you very much. That's a great update on the pool.
Okay.
All right.
And then a couple parks updates. People might have noticed we're working to replace the asphalt slab south of the new picnic shelter at LFM Park. Additionally, the splash pad contractor will be coming out to LFM Park tomorrow. Hopefully, if we don't all blow away tonight. Come out tomorrow to activate that and test it and make sure it's all working and to train staff on it. And then we will likely be opening it up, as the weather gets warmer, probably early next week, as well as all the other splash pads in town. So again, we'll put posts out on social media when those are open and on. All else fails, go test it and see if it works. And if it's on, it's on. And then, like I said, just in general, keep an eye on our job openings on our city website. Temporary positions over the summer open up from time to time, and we have other more permanent positions open as well.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Westhoff. Anyone have any questions for Mr. Westhoff or concerns? Okay, if not, thank you. I have one and that I would like for Chief Weishar to elaborate on. Today at school, I had one was the question about the pool, so thank you so much for elaborating on that and giving us an update. The second was electric cars, and we had a robust discussion about electric cars, and then one of the students talked about some safety concerns in terms of the battery and what happens if a battery were to ignite. And so just wanted to give Chief Weishar the floor to talk about that a little bit.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I know we see it on the news a lot, and it's in the conversations that the fires, the lithium batteries, electric vehicles, statistically, they don't catch on fire as much as gasoline fuel, diesel fuel vehicles do. So the fact that it's on the news a lot, or it's in discussions at school, or the fact that everybody's questioning, what do you do? Are you prepared for it? We've been watching the electric vehicles for a long time, and normally we're proactive. With this one, it started off, we thought by 2026 everybody would drive an electric vehicle. It kind of slowed back down, and in Atchison we haven't seen a lot of them. We're starting to see a lot more. Probably I've seen more this year than I have in any other time. So they are coming. They will be here. We've watched the trends. We've trained on it. We trained on it really strong about 8 or 9 years ago when they first started coming out, because like I said, we thought this is what everyone would be driving. We kind of slowed down on the training, and over the last year, yes, we've upticked the training on it. And we've watched the trends on how to fight these fires. We do have equipment that will fight them. One of the things I was mentioning to you before the meeting was that they're selling this blanket now, and they are saying that it's safer to put this blanket over it, and that will cut it off, starve it from oxygen, and put the fire out. One of the things with that is they're about $1,000 per blanket, and they're good for one-time use. So it's something that hopefully maybe we could turn into the insurance company from vehicle, I don't know, but that is where it's at now. And we're still watching it closely to see what the trends are here in town. There are a lot more electric vehicles than we've seen in the past. But like I also told you that we have a company that reached out that want to come up here and do individualized training with each of the shifts on what they're seeing. And they're not a firefighting company. They're kind of a third party that's kind of watching this whole thing, getting the information. I don't know where their funding comes from, but they're interested in coming up here and talking to us about electric vehicles and the hazards and the benefits from them. So yeah, it's something we're watching very closely. We are prepared to fight those fires now, but we're watching the trends to see where they go to when we're got a lot more in town. And even speaking of normal vehicle fires, with vehicles that have gotten a lot safer in the last 10 or 15, 20 years, we hardly see any vehicle fires anymore. I mean, I don't want to say that they're non-existent, but 20 years ago, it was nothing to have a vehicle or 2 vehicle fires a week. It was that prominent, and they've become that much more safe built over the last 20 years. So,
Have you had any lithium battery fires to this point?
we've had a few little ones. Just not many. We've had, the hoverboards, the not one with a phone that I know of, but we've had a few little ones that are lithium battery fires, and they're, you just throw water on them. As long as it's a small device, water on, fire out, and then it pretty much eliminates that. Yeah, we haven't seen a big impact on that. Again, like you see on the news, or you go to the airport and try to get on a plane, they're going to make sure your fires are accounted for and where they're at. We haven't seen, and I think it's more of something that's just prominent in the news, conversation. It's being talked about a lot more than it's really happening.
All right, well, thank you. Appreciate that, Chief.
For asking.
Appreciate that.
On vehicles, I have a question. As a reminder to me and to the general public, what are the requirements for the off-road vehicles that we've allowed in the city in terms of license?
Yes, the
There are no
UTVs.
requirements.
They have no licensing requirement.
Correct.
They have an insurance requirement though, don't they?
They do have to have insurance, and they do have to have it on their person when they are driving the vehicle. It's not like vehicle insurance where, because currently, and Chief can answer this too, but currently in the state of Kansas, your vehicle insurance is part of your registration information. So if you happen to not have your insurance actually physically with you in your car, but you have good registration, the officers can look up your registration and confirm that you do have insurance. Because these are not licensed by the state, there's no way to confirm a vehicle has insurance except the physical insurance, either on your phone or a document. So our ordinance does require that you keep that with you when you are driving UTV in the city limits.
The reason, I had 3 people in this last week ask me, what are the licensing requirements for those vehicles? I said, there are no licensing requirements.
Correct.
There's safety requirements.
Correct. You have to meet
Turn
equipment
signals,
requirements.
seatbelts.
You have to be 18, not 16.
Yeah.
And you can't have any, children in it that require a safety restraint, because you can't install those in there.
And they were surprised. And
Yeah.
my response, and I hope I didn't misstate this, but we sort of did a survey of other communities, and they felt that licensing those vehicles was more of a hassle than it was a benefit.
Correct. And the enforcement of that was very difficult. And the ones that we had talked with that had a licensing requirement were actually removing it because it was not worth the time. And they were relying on those other factors of maintaining insurance, safety requirements for the vehicle itself, which are visible, generally speaking, because a lot of these are more open cab, so you can see that there's a seat belt, you can see that there's turning signals and things like that. So We rely on that and the older age requirement of 18.
And so a gator or a lawnmower would not qualify as a legal vehicle on the street.
A lawnmower would not qualify. It does not have the wheelbase or
What about a
to
gator?
qualify. Gator, depending on the size and the definition of what you call a gator. Gator's a brand, so they make vehicles that would qualify.
Yeah.
And we do have in the definition micro utility trucks. So generally speaking, those might meet that requirement.
And not golf cart.
Golf carts are specifically excluded, that you cannot drive a golf cart on city streets in the city of Atchison. They are not safe to drive on a street with vehicles the size of modern vehicles.
But you see them.
You do, and you know, our police officers can't be everywhere, but if they see if they see a golf cart driving on the street, they will
I'm just making a
speak to that
because
person.
I
Yeah,
see them,
of course.
and they are a hindrance.
That's Bob, he hit his ball way out of bounds on.
Okay. Chief Wilson, would you like to add anything to our discussion? Has the,
It has not been a problem
okay.
for us. You could envision there being some, but I think those who promoted the idea were, it's kind of like a club. It's a group of people who associate with each other. That they took the responsibility upon themselves to make sure they're abiding. We have not.
Okay, all right, wonderful, that's good.
Is there still, there's a state law that says these vehicles can't be on state or US highways.
Correct.
The misunderstanding is the connecting link, and that's not included. So if you're talking about Atchison, it'd be US 59. It would not be 17, like coming by you. We've asked that question, because even a connecting link, as you know, Main Street between 17th and 10th is a connecting link when it comes to like what you do with state funding on pavement, but there's just so many things that people misunderstand about the connecting links. Like you can't park on a public highway, but the city of Atchison regulates what happens on Main Street and Country Club Road and 17th. It's connecting links. So if you talk about what can they not go down, it's 59 highway from Omaha Junction to 4th Street. Can't go up K7 from the curve north. Can't go 73 between Woodlawn and the west city limits. That's the way we've interpreted it, because that's what we've been told. We've researched that with other cities.
Yeah, I'll admit, Commissioner, the state law is a little unclear on that, and I would encourage them to clarify that because it's becoming more common. But our ordinance specifically states that they'll follow that state law. So whatever they make that state
So if
law is.
somebody is in a side-by-side at Taco John's, as an example,
Yes.
well, there's only one way to get there, and that's on a state highway.
They can cross, as you know, they can cross the state highway. So, but there though, you couldn't go south because you've got one going both directions, 59 and 73, so.
It's kind of confusing.
Yeah, like I said, I do agree that I think the state law is confusing. I think that it was written before these became as ubiquitous as they are. So I would, our ordinance, the way we wrote it was just to make sure that we don't go afoul of the state law. If the state law changes, then we'll change the ordinance to match.
And give you an example of where the confusion lies, I think 409 has side-by-side that they utilize for maintenance, and they go from high school to the grade school, and there's no way to get from one to the other without driving on Highway 7.
Well,
And I'm just saying, somehow it needs to be cleared up that you're breaking the law as written, but it's just confusing.
Recommend to write your state legislator, because ultimately we wrote our ordinance to make sure that it doesn't go against state law, because that would get us in trouble. So we'll make the changes if the state law clarifies, but that's the way it's
Remember
currently.
too, Commissioners, that it's illegal in the state of Kansas unless the city opts out. And by your action, you made it legal. So you still have the power, because under state law, they're not allowed on any street unless you opt out, which you did. And so did, as Mark was saying, so did many cities. Hayes was one of them that did it initially. You know, they're 3 times our size. Tonganoxie. I don't know if Lawrence, did we determine that they did?
I think they did.
Because at first, you know what you saw was Effingham, Troy, those sizes of cities, because it's so rural. And then cities themselves did it. I think one reason that we found during research is because the requirements, because what we're all worried about, let's face it, is turn signals, headlights, seat belts. And these type of vehicles now have those, the ones that we're allowing.
I think it's worked very effectively to this point with good common sense. The fact that you said the people within that group are sort of reminding each other about what they can and can't do. I find that those vehicles typically have better lights and more use of their turn signals than people in cars and trucks. So I think it's going pretty well. Some people don't like it just because they don't like it.
Yeah.
They're looking for, oh, he crossed the highway. You know, well, how does the chicken get across the road? I don't know.
Right. But
The four-wheelers are still illegal, all-terrain vehicles.
Four-wheelers are as well.
So, and that's what a lot of us worried about at the beginning, and those are not allowed. Young drivers, unlicensed drivers, it's not allowed. And as Mark says, even the young licensed drivers aren't allowed. You gotta be 18, so, I can tell you from the law enforcement perspective, we're not saying, unruly behavior or driving by them. It's really commendable, really, of what we've seen of them.
so it's been successful. It's something that was brought before the city commission, UTV request, and it sounds like, from what you're saying, Chief, is that by all accounts, it's successful, it's been safe, you haven't had any issues with it. So,
Correct.
okay, all right.
Last question.
Very good. Yes.
Completion of the skate park, when is that, what's that schedule looking like? Any idea?
I don't have a,
Okay.
They were targeting the late summer, early
right,
fall.
and
the last time we
I
talked
haven't
about it.
heard any revisions from that.
Well, I thought they were gonna do it right away. That's why we went with them.
Well,
They were doing it this year is why we went with them. Partly.
That other thing could have started in May, they said.
We didn't have any. Okay. We can go back to that if you want. It's been approved by the city commission.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. With that, we've sort of morphed into governing body comments without actually stating that. So at this juncture, we'll continue in that venue. Commissioner Greenlee?
Can't add anything further. It seemed like they covered everything that I was going to say. Water treatment. Thank you, Clinton, for arranging that. Very interesting, and
I don't know that I arranged
glad
it,
our
but I'll take the
water's
credit.
not lumpy.
Yes, indeed, indeed, and safe. All right, Vice Mayor?
Well, I think the knowledge of the staff out there also was impressive.
Yes.
It was very
And,
impressive.
You know, he was right there with all the answers, and that's pretty hard to do with that complexity. I just give us a reminder that the high school, the junior high, middle school, the elementary schools are all getting out. Kids are going to be, I don't know if they're going to be out and about more than normal, but they're going to be out there.
Yes.
And they're going to be in the parks more, and that's why I asked about the skate park. And everybody just have a little patience and a little caution. And also, a lot of them are going to be looking for jobs, and it'd probably be a benefit to them to have a job. So if you got a yard to cut or somebody that stocks shelves or something, grab a neighbor kid and give them an offer. A few extra bucks in their pocket.
Absolutely, absolutely. Commissioner Murphy, and again, welcome back. We're happy to see you.
Thank you. I'm very glad to be back because there's lots of other places I could be. I'll tell you, and I appreciate everybody's concern. And I did kind of keep up, so. And if you can avoid it, don't have one.
Okay.
I'm gonna
All
take
right.
his advice the best I can that way.
Yeah.
No, I don't have anything other.
Okay. All right. I will just say congratulations to all of our graduates. Congratulations to Mr. McNamee. He had a daughter graduate from Atchison High School, so appreciate that. Congratulations to all graduates. And as Vice Mayor said, because schools are out, children, students, young people will be out and about. Please be careful. Please watch all crosswalks, etc. And then if you can, please definitely provide jobs. I know I've been pushing with my students lifeguarding, so hopefully that will help. And with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move we adjourn.
All right, it sounds like Commissioner Greenlee moved and Commissioner Slattery seconded that we adjourn. If there aren't any questions, all those in favor, please state by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are adjourned.
What'd your wife tell you to get out of the house today, Jack? Your wife told you to get out of the house today, or what? Looking for something?
all day.